Paul Thomas Anderson's classic Boogie Nights is certainly a standout film in his career. Set in 1977, the film follows the main character Eddie, who is discovered by adult film producer Jack Horner. Eddie begins to star in many pornographic films, changes his name to Dirk Diggler, and rises to fame in the porn industry, and quickly becomes one of the major players in the glitzy world of late 70s porn. However, as the new decade is ushered in, Dirk struggles with his relevance. On the surface, Boogie Nights doesn't seem like a movie that offers much sentimental value, but a closer look reveals that one of the major themes present in this movie is actually family. Eddie's home life before the porn community is severely broken. His mother is an alcoholic who is ashamed of him, and his father is a pushover. Yet when he is accepted into the porn community, he becomes a part of a new family. And this is true with mostly all the characters in Boogie Nights. All come from a troubled past and all find solace in the accepting community. Most Paul Thomas Anderson films focus on characters who feel outcasted by the changes happening in the world around them. Whether it's a naval man trying to adjust to life after war like Freddie Quill in The Master, or Doc Sportello becoming a hippie in the 1970s in Inherent Vice. In Boogie Nights, we see how members of the porn community cope with their lives as the glamorous world of 70s porn comes crumbling down. Dirk and friends turn to drugs, botched robberies, and selling their bodies. However, once the characters realize that a sense of family is what's most important in life, they all return to each other and begin to turn their lives back around. The films of Paul Thomas Anderson tend to focus on the idea that relationship and community is the key to success and happiness. Boogie Nights shows us what can happen when this sense of family is not only received, but rejected. It's true that some directors choose to put style before substance, and that often works in its own right. However, Paul Thomas Anderson tends to use this ultra style not to saturate, but instead enhance the story. For example, a staple of a lot of Anderson's films are his elaborate and lengthy continuous tracking shots. Take the very first scene of this film, for example. We begin on a neon sign that acts as the opening title. We then follow the camera in a crane shot across the street and into another club. We enter and are now given a tour through the inside, where we meet most of the film's characters in the form of brief encounters. But this is all done in a single continuous tracking shot. This scene is a great way to get familiar with each character in a way that feels natural and also builds a world for the viewer, made even more impressive when you consider how tedious the planning and execution must have been for those on set. And this movie is full of these types of continuous shots. There's also a scene in which Eddie meets all the members of the porn community at a pool party, which is a 10-minute scene consisting of a few mini continuous tracking shots, allowing the viewer to feel as if they were a casual bystander. It's also worth noting that instead of simply stopping to pivot the camera in another direction, PTA likes to spin the camera around the subject until it faces its next location, probably because it feels more natural. But my favorite continuous shot in this movie is a scene in which we follow Little Bill around a New Year's party as the rest of the party counts down to the new decade, 1980. In one single unbroken shot, we follow Bill through the house, where he finds his wife cheating on him, again, all the way out to his car, back to the same room where he shoots his wife and lover, and finally back to the living room where he meets his fate. In just 2 minutes, we watch a man's heart be crushed, we watch him murder out of anger, and finally, his own self-inflicted demise, all in a single shot. That's a lot to digest in just 2 minutes, and it's all juxtaposed with upbeat music and the excitement of the rest of the party. It can also be read as symbolizing the death of the 70s, aka the end of the good life for the characters. Finally, in a scene towards the end of the movie, we watch our main characters truly hit rock bottom fantastically, in what might be one of the most tense scenes ever on film. Eddie and two of the other leading male porn stars have been chewed and spit out by the porn scene and plan to rip off a drug dealer by attempting to sell him fake coke. We enter a wealthy-looking house where the shifty dealer, his bodyguard, and a man setting off loud firecrackers greet them. Our characters, who know they will be harmed if they're outed, get their money, but are trapped due to the friendliness of the dealer. Many factors help to contribute to the tension built in this scene. We have the spotting of the bodyguard's concealed weapon, the dealer's seemingly genuine trust in Eddie and the crew, the 80s rock music, Todd's selfish attitude, and of course, the firecrackers. As we are introduced to each of these elements, each adding to the intensity, we are also constantly startled by the sudden and noisy cracking of the firecrackers, and it works brilliantly to the scene's advantage. Also noteworthy in this scene is when we can almost pinpoint the moment in which Eddie realizes he has hit rock bottom. This is done through a close-up shot of his worn-out and tired face, a shot that lingers a long while and allows you to feel the hopelessness that Eddie does purely through the expression on his face. Not only does Boogie Nights do a wonderful job at displaying the quote-unquote good life in the 70s porn industry through its unprecedentedly sleek style, but it also shows how far those who are broken, selfish, or just seeking an identity can fall without a family who loves and supports them. And after all, isn't that what porn is all about? Family?